So good morning, everyone. I am Samir Apte. I am a career mentor with Dheya. And it's absolutely a pleasure to be here on this Sunday morning to have this nice chat with all of you. The topic, as you all know, is really around discovering your child's true career path. For all of us, and I am one of you as I am a parent too, it's really critical for us to understand what is actually our role in this entire discovering, designing, and executing the career path for our child. So it's really all about that. In the next 1 hour, we'll try and simplify some of these things for you, and certainly at least get you start thinking about some of the do's, some of the don'ts, really, in terms of how each one of you, each one of us can help our kids. A quick introduction. So I'm Samir Apte. I am an engineer and an MBA with about 24 years of experience. Primarily worked in the IT industry, in the healthcare industry, across different departments and roles. A couple of years back, though, I realized that I could add value to the education field. So I've started focusing on education by teaching students. So I worked as a professor in a college. I also do skill development. And currently, I am working closely with Dheya as a career mentor. And the entire intention is really to see if all of us can actually add value to our younger generation. You'll agree with me that when we were all growing up, all of these things didn't exist, mentoring and career planning and all of that. So each one of us has found our way out. But if there was a way for us to really help our kids, we should all do that. So it's in that capacity that I'm here today as a corporate professional, as a parent, and also as a mentor, right? So I'll try and see if I can connect all of these areas and talk to you in a very open and a transparent manner. I do have a couple of colleagues also online. Arvind is a director from Dheya, and he's online. I also have some of my mentor friends. I can see Shabbir. So Shabbir, welcome to the webinar. Please feel free to support me when we are answering the questions, and we'll get started. So in terms of the agenda, really, I think it's all about really looking at what are the changes in the working environment, right? Everything is changing around us, and it is impacting us, affecting us in multiple different ways. For us, the question is, what is a career? What are these career choices that we make? And are these the same as education goals, or are these very different? More importantly, what is your role? What is our role as a parent in this changing environment? And how can we really enable ourselves and our kids to choose a career that works well in future? But frankly, at the end of it, it is really about designing that career plan which is unique for your child. So this is at a broad level what I intend to cover. I will keep sufficient time towards the end to be able to answer certain questions. So please feel free to just put in your questions in the chat. The world around us is changing every day, every minute. All the brands that you see here are new brands, did not exist, a couple of years back. Slowly and steadily, we have started using this, right? So a lot of you on the call, I presume, are close to my age, which is, between 35 and 50, really. And all of us, for us, this has been really new. It's something that we never grew up with, but now we use it every day. We grab taxis through apps, we order stuff through Amazon, we transfer money through online digital, right? It's got us some time to get into this, but frankly, we've accepted that and we've moved forward. It has forced us to change our behaviors. It's forced us to change our responses. And we can see that happening in multiple different areas, right? So my question is, if it's changing everywhere else, we are seeing all of that happen everywhere else, are we really changing the way we look at career options today? And that's something for us to really think about. All of us who've seen the newspapers in the last 30 days, from the time the results have come out and the admissions are all in swing, you are just hit with so much of information, right? I mean, when you look at IITs and the JEEs, for example, and you see that about 11.5 lakh students appearing for seats which are as low as 13,000 or 31,000, just putting all those government funded seats together. But frankly, 10%. Okay. When we look at NEET, again, about 14 lakh students appearing, 7 lakh students, being successful, all of them fighting for as close to about 60,000 seats, with private and government medical colleges. It does say, the news article, that 25 students are fighting for one government college medical seat. And at the same time, you come across articles that say that 80% of our engineers are unemployed, and they're unemployed because they are not ready, they are not industry ready, and they don't have skills that make them employable. So just put all of this together. There is still a mad rush to go towards certain careers that have always been lucrative, have always been in demand, and always been so-called glamorous to have. Now, while nobody is doubting the importance and the credibility of IIT or the top medical colleges, the question to ask is, if 10% got through, what about the balance 90%? What are they still doing? Are they still going there and looking at different colleges, second layer, third layer, fourth layer, and so on? Have they still continued on their dream to become the doctors and the engineers that they wanted to? Or have they shifted their dreams? And this is something to think about, because at the end of the day, we really want our kids to be out there and have a successful career. And so while the world is changing, while we are changing in the way we are responding to the technology change, responding to the industry change, a lot of parents have still not changed the way we look at careers. Even today, we still think about the same old traditional way of thinking in terms of an engineer, a doctor, and so on. All good. The question to ask is it right for my child? Because that is where I think the key is. And what is messing this up for us, right? I think it's all about the information overflow. Okay. Open the paper, and I know how it feels, right? As parents, we all do it. Just open the paper. There are huge ads that promise you the world, colleges, coaching institutes, courses you've just not heard about, like there are some 20,000 different, careers, education courses that suddenly come up from nowhere. There are lectures that happen, again, from individual classes, from individual colleges, that tell you how this is good and something else is not. People have started looking at career counseling, but really counseling is a negative word. I mean, counseling you do when something is a problem. It's not a very positive thing. It's a negative thing. You have a problem, you seek counseling, and you get solution. There is no problem here. People go into admission counseling. Oh, which college, which university, which courses, and a lot of focus is actually on admission kahan lena hai, and the entire thing is all about just getting an admission. And if that was not enough, we have our neighbors and our friends and the parents of our students, the kids' friends, who are all asking us the same questions. Oh, kahan pe le rahe ho admission? Kya kar rahe ho? And so this tremendous pressure on all the parents today is really mind-boggling. I am one of them, right? In terms of getting this information overflow. And so in this, how do you really, sort of keep your sanity, right? And the best thing here is awareness. So thanks, Rishi, for saying that awareness is an issue, and absolutely true, because the starting point for all this is about awareness. But about awareness about what? I think it is awareness that goes two-way. One, which is basically looking inside and looking at how our child is and what our child is made up of, and also looking at outside in terms of what really fits there. A lot of us just look outside and say, oh, this course is brilliant and that opportunity is fantastic. The question again is, does it align with my child? Okay, so this is how we all get very confused and very stressed because of all of this information flow coming from multiple sides. Finally, what happens is a lot of the parents say, okay, career to karna hai, but let's just get into something right now. So let's just look at education. Why don't we seek admission in a particular college? And why don't we seek admission in a particular course? What has to happen later, we'll figure it out. But right now, let's just focus on 11th standard. Should we go for science, commerce, arts? After the 12th standard, should we again go for this, that, or the other course? But if you really ask the question, is selecting an education course actually equal to a career? Well, we need to think again about that, because frankly, if you think that education is equal to career, then we are going to give rise to a lot of complications. And one of those is that we are getting qualified youth. There are a lot of people who get churned out of colleges. They complete their courses, education completed. Employment, maybe yes, maybe not. Prepared, maybe yes, maybe not. And most importantly, are you clear about what you want to do for the next 10 to 20 years? Many of them not. So the whole idea here is, the moment you get into this education thing and confuse it with careers, you are actually going out on a very, very different track. And then that's the reason why you really have to think about, so if education is not the right track, what is career planning? And more importantly, why is it required? I mean, haven't we all, when we were young, just gone through this, whatever came our way, we took it, we went forward. Nobody had a clue, like 15 years down, what will we do? And we survived, right? So why do we have to do all of this, career planning and all of that? Well, the simple reason is exactly what we talked right in the beginning, the change. Change is so fast nowadays that the most important thing is, how do you align yourself with the change? And if there was a way for you to figure out how can you stay on top of all of these changes that come in, somebody was there to tell you and your kids, okay, this is how it could be done. I think it would be many ways in which it would actually smoothen it for them. So let's look at the why. Okay, why are we looking at career planning? In Dheya, we have something called as a concept called as the 1840 dilemma. So what is this? In India, on an average, we spend about 18 years of our life in education. Okay, we put our kids from the age 5 to age 23, 24 into education. They start learning a subject and completing an education, with the expectation that the next 40 years of their work life is going to be successful, which is really, work-life balance is there, it's fulfilling, it's happy, it's achieving. Does it really turn out like that always? Well, not really. And one of the reasons why it does not is, when you just focus on the education without focusing on the work life, what happens is you've started investing in education. You're putting in lakhs of rupees, but you really don't know what are the returns. And the returns are not only monetary. What is the return? You want your child to be happy, confident, and forward-looking. I mean, we would not want our children to get into a course, after 2 years say, Dad, Mom, I'm not able to handle this. This is not what I want. So one is, of course, the monetary loss of lakhs of rupees, but more importantly is the loss of confidence. And we've seen this happen, okay? I think many examples where people have joined areas, let's say medical, right? Went into the college, it's all glamorous, the child is brilliant, but ask that child to touch a dead body for dissection, and well, the answer is no. You see blood, you faint. Things like those, which are nitty-gritties of a career, of a work life. And frankly, if you're not ready for that, these are questions one needs to ask right in the beginning, before the parents are investing lakhs of rupees. So any unplanned investment is going to give rise to anxious parents, parents who are also getting older, and you really don't want these surprises and shocks after 5 years, after 7 years, after 10 years, right? Rather, focus on it right now, invest your time, efforts, energies on it, and arrive at a decision. The other thing which is critical here is, are our kids ready? The kids are very smart these days, but again, are they really ready? Do they really know what they are in for? And most of the times they are not. Because we did a survey in Dheya, where about 33,000 kids were actually interviewed and asked, hey, do you know what you want to really be, when you complete your education? And 78% of them said, a slight idea, but not really. We don't know. Not yet decided. The 22% who actually said, yeah, we've decided. When you asked them, okay, so what do you want to be? Most of them came with very, very generic answers. Oh, I want to be an engineer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an architect. I want to do IAS, right? But again, these are, as currently as the kids see it, a course, a stream. But after you become an engineer, after you become a doctor, after you actually complete a course, where do you really want to go? And that is something that the kids are also not clear about. Not their issue, because we have to train them as parents. We have to make them think about career in a very different way, which I will get to. But frankly, when the students are unclear, when the kids are unclear, parents also get very worried. The third thing is, we are looking at the child's future based on, again, our expectations, our requirements, and our experiences. So a lot of times we look at a future by saying, hey, that line is a very good line. Okay, please go there. Why are we saying this? Because of course that line is good. Of course the remuneration is good. Of course the returns are good. You are right when you say that that line is good. But when you ask your kid to go in that line, the kid is not aligned to that kind of a role and that kind of a career. What is going to happen is a constant friction between the work and life. And again, what really happens is, when you are getting into something which is not aligning to your personality, which is not aligning to your abilities or interests, you actually will not be able to perform at the best of your abilities. And that is where one may come across as mediocre. Now, this word is a very, very dangerous word to have. Nobody wants to be mediocre. I mean, we all want to do good in what we are doing. So the answer lies in, we will be good in what we are doing, provided it is aligning to how we are as people. So Dheya believes in some of the, the Indian texts, where we say that swadharma, which is, your actions, if these actions are connected to your swabhava, which is your personality, then you're going to have the best fit and the most optimum fit. Whereas if the swadharma is not matching with the swabhava, there's a good chance that there is always going to be a friction, and there is always going to be a very mediocre, somewhere in the middle of the range kind of a performance, which we as parents want to avoid. And believe me, the kids are also not really excited about being in that zone, which is being mediocre. So then the question to ask is, have we just forgotten that each child holds unique strengths that make them special in a certain way? If we are not aware of these strengths of our child, then we will continue to say that, hey, robotics is a fantastic course. Genetics is a fantastic course. Data analytics is a fantastic course. It is a fantastic course. Is it fantastic enough for your child with his or her unique strengths? So do you have answers for that? And I think most of us don't, because we know it, in our heart, but we need some kind of a very structured way to prove that. And that's the reason why a lot of people now start looking at what we call as tests, aptitude tests and personality tests and all different kinds of tests. The reason is to just find exactly that what are these unique strengths that will help us and help our kids look at those careers. Broadly, when you look at this 1840 dilemma, and just let me summarize that, what we are really saying here is that if you had clarity when your kids were 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old, as early as 13 years old, okay, about how they want to continue their education for the next 6 to 7 years, okay, that would actually help them in their work life for the next 40 years. So if we are going to be educating our kids till the age 23, okay, and currently the kid is 13 years old, is there something we can give the child at 13 years old? Clarity, awareness, a purpose, a destination, a goal. If we are able to give all of this to the child as early as 13 years of age and show the child what they can do in the next couple of years of their education, believe me, we are really preparing our child to take care of the next 40 years of their life, where they really need to do a very good job at their work life and get a very fulfilled life. So the entire 1840 dilemma is really about making sure that you are using the 18 years of education in a much more informed and an aware manner, educating our kids, but also making them aware of what they need to do for the next 40 years of their lives, which are going to be most critical. And this exactly is the essence of career planning, where we as parents are going to provide that clarity to our kids, of course, with the help of other people who are experts in this field on how to really look at the 40 years of their work life, just by focusing a little more strongly, a little more clearly on the 6 to 7 to 10 years of their education life, right? So this is in essence the net takeaway as I look at it from the dilemma. And again, nobody wants a life of trial and error. For kids who are not clear about how they want to proceed further in their life, they do something which is called a dance of life. I don't think you will be able to read this fine print, but the red color block, which is basically after they complete their education and that early career, they keep doing a lot of trial and error to figure out where they fit. And if you're not clear about your career goal, if you're not clear about your path, you will be spending a lot of time from the age 23 right up to age 30 and even more, having this dance of life, trial, error, trial, error. Okay, while it says life teaches you, but what if you had some answers at age 13? Wouldn't it be better for you? And that exactly is the essence of a comprehensive career planning. The question is, okay, now we are going to get ready for this future and everything, and it sounds very fine, but what is exactly the future, going to show us? Does anybody know what's happening in future? Well, no, but you can guess. Parts of it you can certainly guess. Okay, so all of you parents, you would have come across all of these things about automation, about artificial intelligence, about blockchain, machine learning, all these high-tech words, data analytics, and so on. And that's all going to come and eat away all the jobs, right? Not really. They are going to come, yes. Okay, so there will be all this automation, there will be all this machine engagement. But you know what? It's going to be a coexistence between humans, between man and the machines, always. There always will be certain things that machines can't do, and there will be certain things that machines can do much faster. The question is, are you able to figure that out? Now, as you are putting together a career goal for your child, is this career actually something that the machine can do better than a human can after 10 years? Or is this something that the human can definitely do better irrespective of whatever machines come in, right? And I think these are the kind of questions we do need to ask ourselves, okay? And that is what decides the futuristic appeal of any job, career, or a goal that we are setting. So these are some of the future trends. Basically automation, miniaturization, time compression, greening, ruralization, personalization, heavy words, okay? But each one of them is actually a concept in itself. What it tells you is that, okay, all these things are happening. But what does that mean? That also means that even if you talk about automation, okay, which parts of which parts of the future are going to get automated and which others are still going to leverage creativity. A lot of jobs that we have today did not exist a couple of years back. Question is, what jobs will remain 10 years from now, 20 years from now? So when we start putting together the career plan, also need to look at this angle of futuristic appeal or futuristic opportunities, which become very, very critical for all of our kids. Now, if automation comes in, what does that mean? Machines come in. What does that mean? If 10 people were doing a certain job, maybe now only 3 people are required. So which 3 people stay? The best 3 people stay. What happens to the mediocre people who are maybe number 8, 9, 10? Chances are they lose their jobs. So the question is then, can we afford to just be mediocre in something and hope and pray that the jobs will stay and it will continue? Or try to focus on areas where you can be among the top? And believe me, every one of our child can be. You just need to figure out that particular unique area where our child can be on top. Okay. And so the idea is that try to do something where you know you can excel. It's not about getting 99.99% marks. That's a percentage. That's education. It is about ensuring that you are able to perform higher than the average and able to shine among a crowd. So the question is, it's not about education anymore. It is about competence. And how does the competence get built? Well, competence is a mixture of knowledge, skills, attitudes. Right? When you put all of that and abilities and interests, you put all of that together, you are developing what we call as competence. In Dheya, when we work with kids, you'll be very surprised, but each of our kids, each of our child actually has many, many competencies, right? And in fact, we call it out to the kids where we say that, hey, you know what? You actually have about, at least 20 competencies that are so unique to you and so powerful for you that if you are able to leverage these competencies, there's a fantastic chance that you actually do well in the careers that you choose. So it's really about competence and not really just about the education that you're doing. So this is the why. Okay, why do we have to do all this? Everything is changing, future changing, etc., etc. Now I'm going to get into the how. Okay, but before that, let me just quickly see if there are any questions on what I just called out. I'm going into how, in terms of how career planning should actually be and how should we as parents really get involved in this entire thing. So I'm just quickly going to go into the questions to see if there's anything there that I can currently answer. So there are questions with regards to specific areas. Okay, somebody wants to send the child abroad, etc. We'll address these in terms of when we actually do the career planning, how exactly this is done. So hold that question; it'll get answered. Good question. What factors do you consider to select a career at the age 16? So the broader understanding here is that, do the factors change as the age changes? Of course, yes. So we start planning careers as early as 13 years of age, okay? Because by then the personality has got sort of formed. Kids are aware. Now this is typically your 8th standard to the 9th standard, right? When the kids have to choose subjects, they have to look at what are the different things that are coming up. So the career planning with a 13-year-old is going to be different from the career planning at 16-year-old, because probably at 16-year-old, which is basically somewhere after the 10th standard, you may or may not have already started on a certain line. So then you need to look at, okay, is this line the correct line, or you need to change it a bit. That's why our advice normally is to start early. Start at a place where options are available. Start at a place where it is still in your hands to decide on certain lines before, going across into a particular career and then figuring out, oh, I'm getting stuck. What do I do? So I'll come to what exactly one has to look at age 16. But Ajay, just to answer you, at age 16 and basically this is the age of 10th standard, one would really look at what next in terms of your 10th plus And then you would also look at, what would it be at 12th plus, again, depending upon, most importantly, what is unique about the child and what is unique in terms of the strengths. And I will answer this a little more in subsequent slides. How do we prepare for the examinations? Okay, I will answer that right at the end. And how do I choose my career after graduation? Okay, so hold those questions. I'll come to it. Let's get into the how now. What do we really want career planning to achieve? A focused, purposeful life. And all those things that we saw are not there in an unplanned career. Higher returns of investments, a career that's built on strengths so that you can achieve, a career that is mentored at the right time with the right people, a career that is a happy career with a productive life, a career that has a lot of energy and enthusiasm, a career that focuses on future skills. We want to be happy and proud, don't we? So happy and proud parents, but most important is motivated and focused kids. It would really pain a parent to see their children get confused, demotivated, disillusioned, and really, lost. None of us want it to happen. Okay, so as parents, if there was a way for us to figure something out to help our kids, we'll all do that. I know that, right? And that is something which is there as part of career planning. A good career planning should involve all of this. So then, what should a good career planning look at? Is it education? Is it some problem to be solved? Is it an admission to be taken? No. It is actually how will you get a fulfilled life. And in a very broader sense, what that means is that if your career planning was done based on the strengths of the child in a very structured, systematic manner, it was done by experts in that field and giving sufficient amount of time, there is a very good chance that you have for yourself a very, very strong, stable, and a structured path to follow, which will lead you to a much more smoother and a fulfilled life. And that is something that I want to really focus on right now. So the question, and this is interesting, when I asked, and we meet kids every other day, right? And I asked this question, so what is a career? And the kids come up with all different answers, and some say, oh, it's a job. I do something and I get paid for it. That's a job. So what is the occupation? Occupation is also a job. What is a career? Well, career is also a job. And the funny thing is that it's not just kids; it's all of us as adults also. We know, kind of, but we are not really very sure how to differentiate a job versus a career versus an occupation. Well, a job is something that is clearly defined as a role, has a name tag, has a salary associated with it. So you keep doing a lot of different jobs in your life. And you go from one job to the other, to the third, to the fourth. If you're doing these jobs in a certain field, you would say that you are doing this job, you're occupied, or your occupation is in the education field, or your occupation is in the healthcare field, and so on. So, collection of jobs in a certain field is an occupation. But what is a career? A career is actually a journey to a destination, where in the world of work. So in the world of work, if you have decided that this is your destination, and if you are looking at a journey that takes you to that destination, then you will say that this is how my career is going to be. It will have multiple jobs. It would involve working in multiple fields or the same field, progressing in that field, but all working towards a destination. We normally see this very, very evident in sportsmen, cricketers, right? They always wanted to play cricket and they have a destination in their mind to lead the Indian cricket team, for example, or to be part of the cricket team. And that goes through a lot of different things, different levels, different games that they play. But ultimately, the destination is fixed in their mind in terms of what they want to do. But for a lot of kids and a lot of parents, that destination is not known. What is known is the education that we want to do, engineer, doctor, architect. But next what? The whole idea is to decide on a destination and then decide on a journey to that destination. It will be a course of successive situations that make up a person's occupation. So the simple question is, what do? You fix a destination in the world of work and carve a path to it. What can a destination sound like? Can it sound like being, I want to be a CEO of a media company after 15 years? Is that a destination? Yes, it can be. Is it that I want to really be an innovator and an entrepreneur who wants to do something really innovative in the field of let's say, healthcare? Is that a good destination to have? Of course it is. And how do you get to that destination? You get to that destination through a series of different activities, jobs, roles, modes of work that you do to get there. So in career planning, and a good career planning is all about setting that perfect destination. So there are some of the questions that we need to ask ourselves. Okay, how do you set this destination? The first thing you do is, you answer the questions, what type of work would you enjoy? Now, what are these types of works? So if you really look at the types of works, the question is, would you like to do a creative work? Would you like to do a work which is, let's say, process oriented? Would you like to do a work which involves working with people, involves working with machines, and so on? Which field? Do you want to work in education, in healthcare, in IT, etc., etc.? How do you want to earn? Do you want to be salaried? Do you want to just do a job? Do you want to start your own business? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? What is your purpose? Why do you want to do this? In order to achieve a bigger purpose in life. Maybe to just earn money, and that's fine too. But there needs to be a purpose. You need to have your identity. I want to be known as dash, dash, dash. In the field of dash, 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 doing dash, dash, dash. And that is how one would really look at setting a destination, because it's all connected to your aspirations, right? So this is how one really needs to look at setting a career destination. And that's where I want to really get in here, because we in Dheya really believe in all the things that I just talked about in terms of looking at career planning, such that career planning is not just unidirectional planning, which is all about just, telling the kids to follow a certain education stream, telling the kids to complete a certain education, but really looking at an entire holistic planning that really leads to a fulfilled life. So Dheya is really all about building happy, achieving careers. Dheya has been in the business for the last 13 years actually, and we've basically worked with about 2.5 lakh students, really guiding them in the right way to really look at their careers and their lives. And the way we do this is we really look at one-on-one personalized sessions. We leverage our robust platform, which is a very well-researched platform that looks at the current landscape, but also looks at futuristic landscape. And we do this in the form of hand-holding through mentors like myself and some others on this call, which is really about making sure that we are hand-holding the child and their parents over the next couple of years, right? Dheya is India's first career guidance and planning enterprise. Dheya has its own strong, robust platform that has IP, psychometric tests, and career research that focuses on the past, the present, and most importantly, the future as well. We've impacted 2.5 lakh careers already, and we do this through our mentor community, which is about 2,000 plus mentors across India. And the way this is done is it is actually following a certain model, which we call as the 7D model for development. I have a slide on that. But we are not career counselors. We are not admission agents, right? But we are just purely unbiased career mentors. We don't care which line you pick up. What we do care is that line has to align. That line has to align with the child and the unique strengths of the child. Okay, so I'm just going back one slide, and I'll talk a little more about Dheya, but basically the whole idea is that we work with the kids and we work with the parents such that we focus a career plan based on individual strengths of the child and really look at carving out a career path that involves education, that involves different kinds of additional skills that the child needs to get in order to get to the destination which the child and the parents together have put together. Okay. And I can talk about this a little more. Just a few more slides to go before we go into question and answers. I'm going to move forward. Don't need to look at all the nitty-gritties of this slide, but basically the 7D model says you start with discovery, discover the personality, the abilities, and the interests of the child through a psychometric test. Then based on what we get from this test, really pull out the unique strengths of that child. Then sit down and analyze what are the various possibilities that we can give this child in terms of leveraging the strengths. Honestly, if you had two options, leverage your strengths or just keep overcoming your weaknesses. Frankly, while both are important, focus on your strengths and leverage your strengths, because that is how you'll actually go up and do better in certain areas. Well, you'll not be able to do it in all areas, but wherever these strengths matter, you will be able to do a very good job, right? So it's about understanding the possibilities. It's about then designing the career path or the career map, developing a plan to see how well you can move forward on this, what are the dependencies, and then finally ask the kids to take charge. I think and believe me, our children are really, really smart. When the child is asked to take ownership of this, when you show them a very clear goal, I'm so proud to say that this new generation actually does that very, very strongly. You show them what is at the end of the tunnel. You show them that this is what you will get. Show it with a lot of confidence, show it with a lot of research. Believe me, the kids want to do it because they want to achieve their dreams. And if you're able to assist them to achieve their dreams, nothing like it, okay? So this is what I think is really important for us to look at a model which is structured, be with them across this entire model, but also be there to handhold, okay? In terms of how do we do this, I will just go to the next slide. Now, this is something which is interesting, right? And I briefly touched upon this. In Dheya, we look at what we call as career categories, right? Now, the career categories is really, as I said, the different types of work that one can do. So the question is, if you say, okay, an engineer, well, there could be an engineer who's more creative than others. There could be an engineer who's more process-oriented than others. There's an engineer who is more people-centric than others. So the same engineering education, depending upon the unique strengths of the person, can actually place them in a different role where they can do a better job. So you have engineers going into research, you have engineers going into the production, in a factory. You also have engineers that go into design. You have engineers that go into innovation. So it's time we start looking at this type of work, or the career categories are there. Fields of work, there are so many fields of work. Like we talked about education, healthcare, but there are just too many of them. I mean, it can be things like, industrial arts and legal, military, and protective services, physical sciences, applied arts, you name it. There are so many of them, right? What Dheya has in terms of its IP is, we look at these career categories, we look at the fields of work, but the most important thing that we do is to look at the career occupations, and our IP actually has a database of 22,000 career occupations. So what really happens is, once the student gives the test and once the report comes out, and a report is about 20 pages long, a mentor like me actually sits down to analyze the entire report, looks at the unique strengths of the student, looks at the different career options that are possible, keeping in mind the type of work, the field of work, the interest of the student, and really puts together a list of career options that the child actually, one, can do a good job in, second, will like to do it because it is as per the interest, and third, is something that will continue to stay solid in the next coming future. So this is what we do when we actually work with our students and their parents. In terms of the process, really, it is just a 4-step process. Know the strengths, see the possibilities, choose the occupation, and connect it to an aspiration that we have to put in the minds of our kids of being somebody worthy, and building a plan around it. And this is a one-on-one plan. which basically, in Dheya, there's a certain process to be followed, but just let me just, talk about it right now. When you go to the Dheya site, you will see Dheya products like Dheya Compass, which is really, or Dheya Navigator, which are the products we have for our students. Now, we also have products for the mid-career adults after, beyond 35 years of age. But for the sake of today's session, it's really the students. So we do have products called Dheya Compass and the Dheya Navigator, in which the student gives the test, gets the report. The test is about 1.5 hours long. It can be given online from the comforts of your room. The report comes out, the mentor analyzes the entire report and sets up a face-to-face session with the child and the parents, sits down with the child and the parents for about 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, puts together some of the career options, discusses, agrees upon certain career options to be researched. The child then goes and researches on these career options. Why? Because it's important to tell the child how exactly this career will look like. What exactly will you be doing in this career in an ideal day from morning till night? Believe me, the kids are super excited to do that. And the kids do it and they come back and say, hey, I like this, but I don't like this. When they come back, we again sit down for about an hour and then pull out the main career option and a backup if required, and put together a path that basically tells things like, if one has to be, let's say, the CEO of a company, and that's their aspirational dream, then how do you actually, reverse back? So from where do you need to do your post-graduation? From where do you need to do your graduation? What would you need to do in your 12th standard? What would you need to do in the 10th standard? So a lot of these questions with regards to the path, what courses to take, what colleges to look at, is a joint work between the student, the parents, and the mentor to make sure that we design a path which is clear to the student as early as 13 years of age, which gives them a goal, which is an aspirational goal, something really solid, and show them that this actually works. And why am I saying it with a lot of confidence? Because Dheya has been there for the last 12, 13 years. We are seeing our students go out there, follow their career paths, and actually succeed and achieve. And the proof of the pudding is when the same parents come back and come for the second child, you know that it's worked for them. And that, I think, is a good sort of proof point for people like us who are doing this every day, to say that, hey, you have a solid background, which is backing from Dheya, which really helps you. Okay, so this is really what it was in terms of building a plan, focusing on excellence, fixing a destination, and carving a path. In summary, this is my last slide. I want to leave you with this, okay? Career plan is not education. It is planning a fulfilled life. That can be done based on a destination-based plan, a plan that is based on unique strengths of your child, a plan that is based on some well-researched model that has been working on for the last many years, a plan that is leveraging the right expertise, okay, using the right people, and a plan that is certainly future ready. In my mind, if we as parents want to really focus on career planning for our kids, it is our responsibility, because we understand this, to be able to follow a process which is similar to this, okay? The advantage here is that you become more knowledgeable. You understand why this is being done. It is not just to join a class, join a course, join a particular stream, but to really carve out an aspirational goal that you want to see your kids in. But at the end of it, what you are really going to be very happy about is, I listen to my child. I listen to what my child is capable of. I really looked at what is unique for my child before I pushed my child in a certain direction. And frankly, it's not even pushing the child in a direction. It is taking the child along with you in a certain direction. So that's really what I wanted to share with each one of you in this call. We do have a couple of minutes left. What I'm going to ask you guys is, please write down your questions here. I am going to take each question and see how we can address this, right? So I have some in the question and answer panel. What is the option after BBA? And again, Harvinderji, I think the whole idea here is, what is the destination? What does the child really want to be? Is the child wanting to become a manager somewhere doing a certain thing? In that case, one would need to figure out if that is the goal, okay, is BBA enough, or you would need to do something additional, again, which is a post-graduation. In what? This would depend upon the unique strengths of the child. Which area of management can this person go into, etc., etc. And that is something one needs to think about, right? Can we also look at extending career planning after graduation? Certainly, yes. Again, for us, and we have this from age 13 till 25. So there are a lot of kids who get, complete their education, but they're still not sure. So yes, we of course work with such people, and we guide them, because we do want to make sure that wherever it is they're going with a lot of confidence and a lot of strength. So Ranjan says, my son loves social studies till class 10, took maths in 12. What are the options in 12? Again, I would say, Ranjanji, I think, what is it that the son wants to do? And I think most of these questions are like that. And I think specific question that talk about a certain area, you are most welcome to, contact any of us later on in Dheya. The website is www.dheya.com. I have put in the contact details here. We also have, a team that really focuses on, helping the kids and the students and the parents. So basically, you can also contact our career helpline, which is 99234 000555. Dheya is based out of Pune, as I said, but we have mentors all across the country. Okay, I'm based in Mumbai, and a lot of people, my colleagues are there across the country who can definitely help you. I'm just going through some of the other questions. What I'll try and do is I'll try and see if there are any generic questions, and then see if we still have time. We'll probably go into some of them, which will. Okay, Mustafa ji says that my confusion and concern lies with the fact that, how does the parent know? So as part of the research, what we do is that we basically give certain directions to the parents and the child on where to look for this information, right? In terms of where do you find information about professional courses? What kind of websites do you need to look at? So there are websites like College Dunia, College Dekho, Shiksha, and the others that probably give you a list of colleges and all of that. But then you also have to make use of things like LinkedIn. You've got to make use of sites like Naukri and Glassdoor and Indeed, where you put all of that together. And then certainly in our community of mentors, we do have specialists who also can help. So for example, if there are specific questions regarding a certain area, and let's say the child is working with me as a mentor, and if I don't know the answer, I can always reach out to my mentor friend who is probably an expert in a particular line, just to get that information, right? So this is something we do because we are, after all, a community of people who really want to make sure that we are able to provide that guidance to parents as well as the children, right? Yes, we do have a branch we do have people in Bangalore. And yeah, just write to Dheya.com. Some of our mentors, and senior mentors are based in Bangalore. So certainly you could do that. Please go through the website of Dheya, okay? www.dheya.com. Yeah, we have career mentors all over India. Any other questions, team? And again, I think one of the things which is important here is that Dheya does believe in hand-holding, okay? So even after, as I said, the first session and the other session that we do, a lot of our mentors are connected to the students at all times and over the phone. Thank you, Rashmi. I thought nobody's asking me this question. So the important question is, what are the charges, right? So basically, you'll find it on the website, but Dheya Compass, which is our standard career offering for the students, is rupees 10,000. And this 10,000 has the entire test charges. It's got the mentoring charges as well as the follow-up charges. That is part of this, right? And we do have another offering which is slightly advanced, which is called the Dheya Navigator. And the Dheya Navigator basically works with the child for 36 months, so in terms of putting together a plan with milestones, all of this we do need to look at. I think Shreya has some questions. Shreya, I would really request you to, talk to us offline. And I 100% know that, they will help you out in terms of figuring out what best can be done, right? So I really request you to, reach out to Dheya, if you know people in Dheya already, so that somebody can help you out, right? So it's 10,000 for the Dheya Compass and 20,000 for the Dheya Navigator. Please go through the details on the website. That should help you. Any questions? Certainly, please reach out to any one of us. I'm based in Mumbai. You have my email ID there, but I have a lot of mentor friends online, and some of you have come through the reference of my mentor friends. So certainly reach out to them as well. So before we close, anything else which I was not able to answer, or which is something that is still bothering you? Okay, so in terms of branches, this is how it works. Dheya has a office in Pune, but we have mentors in different areas, and we use certain facilities to actually mentor the students and the parents there. A lot of times, our mentors actually go to the kids' homes. A lot of times, parents and child is comfortable to do the mentoring in their house. So the mentors actually go there, but we basically can do it all across the country. Okay. Post-graduation, India versus abroad. Yes. So if the path requires you to take certain skills from abroad, courses that are abroad, that would also be called out by the mentor. Because honestly, what we are doing here is, when we are looking at the path, we are also telling you about how to really achieve your best in that path. So if one of the options is actually to get a career, to get an education abroad, and if that is something that the parents can afford, the child is okay to do it, certainly yes, right? So those kind of options will also be called out. But again, we are not an admission, agency. So we do not have any tie-ups with any, universities or whatever else. We can just give you a very unbiased, neutral opinion of what this career path looks like, etc. Right? Okay, so I think there's a question from Rajesh Kumar saying that Sun got 97.7%. Wow, that's great. And selected for this, but did not get selected in IIT Advanced. Can you help on what it should do? Coaching for IIT, BSc. So again, Rajesh ji, I think the net is what kind of a line is your son really interested in terms of engineering. If he has decided on a certain line, then you will need to look at the top 3 options, the course-wise or colleges-wise, in terms of what he can do over here. And again, if that means entrance exams, again, if that means focusing on a certain thing, one should do that. But it is again about answering that question. Okay, what does he want to become? Okay, so it's not about getting into IIT. It is about what do you really want to do. So maybe just think about it from that angle. Arrive at 3 options, okay, and then just think about, okay, if I have to pick up this option, then what exactly do I need to do? The specific questions, do reach out to Dheya. We'll check out. I will just try to look at Himanshi's question. I want to get into healthcare field as a doctor. I'm currently 15. Himanshi, I think it's a great question. Again, today, whatever you're hearing with regards to medical field is partly true, partly untrue. What is more important is, do you see yourself being out there as a doctor and really giving it your best? Do you see yourself becoming successful as a top doctor? Okay. And do you see that you have the kind of potential and skills to do that? If the answers are yes to all of this, you need to put together a path which is an easy path, something that aligns to your personality and your abilities, and something that will get you to an aspirational goal that you have. So if your goal is to be able to be a top doctor in the field of radiology, oncology, or whatever it is, and do this for the people around you in India, in the world, there's nothing stopping you, Himanshi. So I think at the end of the day, what you'll really need is to make sure how do you place your best bet into areas where you have the best chances of succeeding, right? I hope it sort of answers at a broader level. I'm trying to get to a generic level. Again, please, if you have specific questions, do reach out to us. If a child is weak in mathematics, which field or he or she should opt for? So let me tell you an interesting thing. If you thought that Google is a technology company and will only hire engineers and high core technical stuff, Google actually is hiring a lot of people with arts background. Okay, and the thing is that the lines are getting very diluted, right? So if somebody doesn't know mathematics, it's not the end of the world. There are actually many courses which need not have mathematics in the way we know it, in the algorithms and all of that, but the child can actually do very well in those lines and still be able to look at multiple fields. I think Aliasgar, I think will be nice for you to talk to. I think Shabbir knows you, right? Please talk to Shabbir. I think it's important to look at what the child can do. I'm telling you right now that gone are the days when maths, science, and all of this was like the most attractive and the most important things in life. Today, it is really about whatever area you choose, do you have the strengths to do that? So no mathematics, no problem. There are a lot of fields in which you can really have the child go right on top. Okay, I think we are over time. I'm going to give one last minute. If there's anybody else who is not yet clear, do get back to us. Okay, if not, I think it was very insightful for me to basically interact with you and all the questions that you asked. Guys, these all questions are very relevant because I have asked the same questions when I was a parent and sitting like this in one of the webinars earlier, right? So I really thank you for your patience. I can tell you one thing, we certainly care for the students, we care for the parents. If you feel the need, please reach out to us. We'll be most happy to help you, all of us. There's a very strong community we have here at Dheya, and I really urge each one of you to go through the website, talk to any of us, and try to help our kids. So this is all about purposeful parenting, which will help your kids really discover where your career truly lies. Okay, with that, I am going to thank you all for attending the session today, and I'm going to stop the recording here. So thank you so much, everyone. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.